Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for ArcGIS Hub and Introduction. My name is Morgan Sapia, and I am an account executive on Esri's Smart City Solutions team. And I am joined by Matt Viverito, a solution engineer on the state government team. We are so excited for you all to be at today's session, so let's get started. Today, we will give an overview of community engagement and its challenges with an overview of ArcGIS Hub. We will look at some customer success examples, and we will go into what's new in the product, and we will finish up the session with a demonstration and Q&A. So with that, let's dive in. Every community wants to be smarter. They want to be healthier, safer, more prosperous. But as they evolve and grow, they are facing some pretty complex challenges. And engagement and collaboration is not as simple as it once was. So the question is, how? How do we get to be a healthier, safer, more prosperous community? Well, through collaboration and community engagement that are focused on initiatives. Community engagement is more than just another step towards the completion of a project or checking a box. It is the meaningful, active involvement of key stakeholders in the decision-making process as it relates to real outcomes that make these safer, healthier, more prosperous communities. When it comes to the idea of engagement, I'm sure many of you are familiar with engagement patterns and milestones within these patterns. The idea of these milestones is to ensure that valuable collaboration and engagement is being thought out and implemented. Milestones are a point in time and keeps our attention on the initiative at hand. Milestones like the ones you see here really are to identify opportunities for stakeholders and to keep initiatives on track. So what you see here is pretty simple. First, start by building a strategy around your collaboration and engagement. This collaboration could be for Vision Zero, reducing homelessness, really any initiative your organization is working towards. Once you build a strategy, you can choose activities around it. Maybe you need more focused feedback from a select group of individuals, or maybe you need broader feedback. You can choose activities based on the initiative you are working on. Then we need to focus on needs. Effective collaboration and engagement should be focused on community needs. By focusing on overall community improvement and being clear on the outcomes of these engagements, more may be willing to actively participate and collaborate. Next, establishing objectives is essential in keeping these initiatives on track. Engagement just to engage won't be beneficial to either the government organization or stakeholders related to it. Identifying and staying true to the reason and purpose of the work will lead to successful collaboration in which you can measure the value of it. However, we found that often there are many challenges that come with engagement and collaboration around initiatives. There are many challenges associated with community engagement, both internally and externally. And these challenges I'm sure many of you are familiar with. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to be explaining these challenges, but how different organizations have overcome them using ArcGIS Hub. The first challenge is governance. Governance is a challenge for any organization. Whether it's related to community engagement or data governance, governance not only provides transparency, but it holds everyone involved accountable and defines how these initiatives are set and achieved. This idea is really about ensuring that people that need to make changes have the access to do so. For example, if a person in GIS is aware of ArcGIS Hub for COVID-19 outreach, but communication staff doesn't know about it, there really is no direction as to what information should be given to the broader public. Achieving proper governance is important to help build the community, develop trust, and ensure there is accountability while moving towards initiatives. However, it's extremely hard, and how are we meant to do it virtually? The second challenge is resources. Resources have been and always will be a concern in government, which affects community engagement. So often, we see that a common barrier to effective engagement and collaboration is resources. It starts at the first step of engagement, building a strategy. Lack of time and staff to effectively put a strategy in place and continue it throughout its life cycle often lead to the biggest obstacles that organizations face. The third challenge is community building. At its core, building a community encourages different areas to work together on tasks that provide a better future. Really, this idea is about replacing the notion that individual communities are alone. Community building takes time, but can be extremely rewarding. It can bring government organizations so much more than trust. It can help drive every aspect of these initiative goals and provide valuable data, intelligence, and ideas that allow cities, counties, states, etc. to grow. The last challenge is accessible participation. Ensuring that all voices are heard despite demographics, location, and other factors is so important in engagement. You might want to ensure your data is representative of all residents, especially in various broad forms of engagement. Quite frankly, young people don't want to go to town hall meetings anymore. They want the Cliff Notes version of it. So there should be both in-person and online engagement options. Or if a person isn't physically able to make it to a town hall meeting, perhaps they don't have the resources to get there themselves, how are their opinions meant to be heard? So then, how do we address these challenges with collaboration and engagement in mind using the tools that you already have? With ArcGIS Hub, an all-inclusive community engagement platform, you can address these challenges while effectively engaging with stakeholders. Collaboration is engagement plus interests. We understand the kind of actions you take depend on your focus area or depend on your interests. So this is a way to show how people can do engagement. These are the types of collaboration that may be sought after depending on the type of initiative work that is being done. And this collaboration happens in 4 different ways, with focused feedback, with transparency and feedback, reinforced messaging, and working closely together. To explain this, let's dive into some real examples. First, work closely together with collaborators such as consultants, policymakers, or technical working groups to address the issue of community building. Close collaborators such as technical working groups, both internal and external, can help steer collaboration sessions and drive engagement forward to build the community. An example of how this solution worked is with Washington, D.C. One of DC's initiatives is called Move DC, a citywide capital improvement project in which they have huge projects like bridge redevelopments and small projects like road diets, which means changing a road from 4 lanes to 2 lanes. And part of that is to have community or public engagement. Typically, they hired out contractors who actually does the road improvement and design, and those contractors would actually run website pages for these projects. This costs money, though, to run and manage, and after the project, the page just kind of got left around, and the city couldn't really update it or edit it. So there were issues of out-of-date data, unofficial reports, and just old information. So the city has now mandated that all projects are going to use Hub as its communication channel with residents. Every project will have its own initiative with pages, which will be ran by the contractor. But now it's within the infrastructure the city already has and is connected to their open data, which explains why the city is doing these projects. So when the contractor is done and leaves, the city can still maintain and access that Hub site and data, keep up with the authoritative information, and work closely with these technical groups within their own environment. So really, they have transformed how they are planning, engaging, and collaborating within the city. They've created templates so when a new project comes down the line, they can quickly spin up these project sites so it's maintaining consistency in branding, consistency in data, and consistency in engagement tools for the broader engagement strategy and working closely together. The next collaboration is transparency and feedback with the broader community. Communicating with the community at large creates transparency and builds trust while addressing the issue of resources. As a central source of information, Hub enables people to gain a better understanding of initiatives and stay informed of its progress. The City of Fullerton's stakeholders can easily log in to participate in collaboration activities or even review materials. The public can also sign up for events, activities, and even email notifications. The City of Fullerton's planning team wanted a way to engage with the broader public so the public could gain a better understanding of the new plans that the city is putting forward. The planning team launched their first initiative and used their own branding for their landing page, which you're seeing. The site gives an overview of what the city wants to achieve, why they're doing it, and what it means to the community and their guiding principles. The city created a second initiative which gave planners a collaborative space in Hub to edit access to stakeholder-involved initiatives. Clear, easy-to-read content is crucial to effective communication strategies. To create a quick snapshot of the city's current housing situation, the team built a demographic flashcard using ArcGIS dashboards. Each flashcard features data from the Living Atlas, which is a database of global data that is available alongside ArcGIS Hub in ArcGIS Online. Fullerton's Hub has so much more to offer, like interactive maps to build transparency and receive feedback, while using streamlined tools to reduce the amount of resources needed to produce such a strong engagement system. The next solution we have is reinforced messaging to address accessible participation. For this type of collaboration, you would want to use project champions to spread messages to ensure key stakeholders are heard. Project champions are well-known figures who will have broad connections within their communities, such as city council members, partners at advocacy and nonprofit groups, faith-based leaders, and healthcare organization representatives. By partnering with these individuals, teams can gain champions who support key messaging around the organization's initiatives and can bring greater awareness to it through their own communication channels. For example, the city of Escondido in Southern California is using Hub as part of their engagement to reduce homelessness, a citywide initiative. As mentioned previously, a major challenge with engagement is accessible participation, getting the right people in the room. Escondido is mitigating their barrier to participation by collaborating with stakeholders like businesses, but also partnering with nonprofits and healthcare organizations who also focus on reducing homelessness to achieve the ultimate goal. ArcGIS Hub plays a fundamental role in the communication and collaboration between these different stakeholders to address this initiative. The city not only has this public-facing hub site that explains the city's efforts and their collaboration with partnering organizations, but they could also use Hub for content sharing. With the use of ArcGIS Hub, they have the ability to share data or content between these different stakeholders and give them access to create their own engagement tools for strategic outreach. We know that engagement strategies don't work for every group or demographic. These project champions within these organizations can reinforce the messaging that the city wants to give by creating activities they know those communities will participate in. The last collaboration pattern here is focused feedback. Focused feedback addresses the challenge of governance. Key stakeholders can help identify gaps in messaging and niche communities who are uniquely affected by the initiative or project. Through an executive order, the governor of Montana wanted to rewrite the Forest Action Plan, and one of the changes was that it had to be more community-oriented. Prior to this, a plan would be made, written, then put on a bookshelf in a closet, so to speak. However, due to this executive order, an advisory board of residents was created to help with the action plan. This was new, so there was no way to collaborate with the state agency, federal agencies, general public, this new advisory board, and everyone that was involved. The Montana Forest Action GIS team looked to Hub as a central location for this content. They use Hub as a way to share PowerPoints, PDFs, and informational products with these different stakeholders to one central environment. This addresses governance by ensuring that every stakeholder involved has access to the content that they need. Even when the Montana Forest Action Plan needs to be rewritten again, this Hub site has become a living document, which they can update, ensuring that proper engagement milestones are being met. The advisory committee that was appointed had a key role in testing different GIS applications and ensuring the usability, accuracy, and overall information of them. Montana used visibility settings to share testing content to this advisory committee without having to make the applications public. Government employees learned from this expert advisory committee on what application would be best and used it in their future engagements. So what is Hub? Hub is an all-inclusive community engagement platform that hosts data sharing, establishes citywide initiatives, and leverages the broader community. And what this really means is that it extends GIS and brings it into communities so that they can work more collaboratively. And we've focused on making this system really simple to use. It's browser-based and sits on top of your current ArcGIS Online. So all of you with ArcGIS Online have this ability. Social, economic, and environmental issues have all become so tightly interconnected, and all of them are community-oriented. So to address smart communities' challenges, the ArcGIS Hub plays a fundamental role in communication, information sharing, and processing data, and even the transfer of data between different stakeholders to enable collaboration and engagement. So with that, what can Hub do? So let me quickly go over some common patterns, and you can think about where or how your organization may want to enable Hub to digitally engage with your residents. The first, ArcGIS Hub is used to communicate important topics. ArcGIS Hub allows you and departments within your organization to quickly spin up project pages with feedback tools, communicate changes, and help explore new visions or goals that stakeholders want to achieve. As so many of those examples showed, it's easy to inform the community on changes that may be happening in your area. This is really beneficial for sharing out content to non-GIS folks, or even non-GIS people within your organization. Non-GIS people can create these sites without any GIS knowledge. You can also create custom URLs as an added bonus. The second use of ArcGIS Hub is to connect and open the data. It's the ability to share data on a common platform that's already integrated into your ArcGIS Online, which makes data collection and organization more streamlined and efficient for you all government employees. As I mentioned before, you all have this capability today with your ArcGIS Online. The third deliverable is that you can capture information and feedback. ArcGIS Hub provides better collaboration within communities, governments, and universities by supporting feedback tools and events, so community members can evaluate goals and provide feedback on those goals and know when events related to an issue are happening. Within this, your community members can register to sign up for updates from the city or county, or you could share specific applications or data with secure logins through community identities. And last, ArcGIS Hub helps enable collaboration. Hub provides a modern approach to community building. It's a platform to encourage people to be a part of a community-wide initiative, like reducing homelessness or increasing feedback for a project. And this framework also allows you to create and share templates. If you create a site that matches all of your city's branding guidelines with the right fonts, colors, and overall look, you can save a template of that initiative and other departments can use it for their own initiative work. So the basic version of ArcGIS Hub comes with ArcGIS Online. So anyone here with ArcGIS Online has access to ArcGIS Hub Basic. With this version, you can create some beautiful sites and share information on them, and also share out data openly or privately. So again, that's included with your ArcGIS Online. To extend Hub to include the community and have initiatives, events, teams, and to have a more engagement framework, there is ArcGIS Hub Premium. So that's an additional fee. ArcGIS Hub Premium has the engagement framework and tools to collaborate with stakeholders in an environment that you all already own. And if you're curious if this is available behind your firewall, there is something called Enterprise Sites. Enterprise Sites gives you similar functionality to ArcGIS Hub Basic. With Enterprise Sites, you can build out sites and share out data and content. So now let's dive into what's new in ArcGIS Hub since maybe the last time you saw it. The first are new content views. The new content views feature an immersive full-screen display for better views of data. This immersive display also provides better readability for PDFs or documents. You can also apply filters, and there's an improved download experience. So let me show you what that looks like. Often people want to go and search for different data. And what we did was leverage geography and location to make this very immersive while still making it easy for people who are seeing this data for the first time. So right away, people see a map of it with prominent metadata about when it was updated, and you can also explore the data in a table. There's a bunch of different ways to filter the data down, and these are leveraging the ArcGIS components, which is making it a really easy way for people to filter or subset the data. So you can see as I filter the data, it's also updating the homelessness by counts of different places. Then, of course, as always, you can download this data. We provided a download experience for the whole data set or even a subset of that data set. We support different ways of downloads, right? So we have CSVs, KMLs, shapefiles, GeoJSON. And what's really great while you explore this data is that there's metadata as well behind the scenes. So for people who really want to drill down, they can. They can learn more about the metadata information, attribute values, and we're also making different calls of action to explore similar data sets or even see how it's being used. So this data set is being used in this map, or, it recommends different data sets. It's kind of like a shopping experience for data in a sense. And again, we are making very prominent calls to action saying, all right, now I want to make a map. So they can start simple by using the mapping within Hub or use the new advanced ArcGIS online map editor. They could also start creating a story map. They could even go into the APIs and pull this into ArcGIS Pro or other tools. They could also build APIs for applications. So, if you want to integrate this data set, we have a simple way to walk these individuals through, different options, and they can use the API here as a feature service URL that you can copy. So the focus here is to enable developers to use this authoritative data. Not only is this good for data, but it's also good for documents. FEMA uses Hub for their Geospatial Resource Center. They are linking out to different pages, dashboards, applications, and it's really great because they're bringing this all together in one central location. But they also have simple documents that they want the public to view. So I'm, kept here by looking at this document view, and I can see who authoritatively, published this. I can see who created this document. And again, this update is an immersive experience to share data, maps, tabular data, applications, and so much more. The second feature update is enhanced row visibility settings. This is the ability to control what users can see what content. In the past, you could create a Hub site or pages and have it be either public or private. But now you can take it one step further. So instead of having the entire initiative or page be public, you can now edit rows to be visible to certain individuals. So you may have a public Hub site, but a row that's only visible to certain groups of users. So what you're seeing here is the same site. Just one person is signed in and added to a team who can access this bright yellow row, whereas one person isn't signed in or isn't a part of that team, so they can't see it. And this is really easy to configure. So once inside of the Hub Builder, when you are looking at your Hub site, you can choose a row and select that you want to limit the visibility to a group, and then you kind of get that dynamic viewing experience. Another update is GDPR Compliance. Something ArcGIS Hub has supported since its launch is tracking activity on Hub sites. So we have dashboards where you can track spikes and declines of your site's traffic to really monitor and evaluate how the site is doing. Maybe what data is being downloaded, things like that. This new update by default has optional tracking. So when a user comes to a Hub site, they can accept or reject the tracking. So if they choose to reject, it stops tracking that user throughout the rest of their activity. You can also turn it off and disable this. So if a user comes to the site, they don't see that pop-up. And what's really great is while we have this out-of-the-box pop-up, you can also customize it. So you can provide your own language and terminology and even provide links to your own organization's privacy policies. Another update are the templates. And so the first thing I want to mention is that accessing templates that have been made by the public is now available to all Hub users. Whether they use ArcGIS Hub Basic or ArcGIS Hub Premium, everyone now has access to templates. The ability to create a template is still a premium functionality, but again, everybody can use these templates as a starting off point for engagement. For example, the state of Arizona created a template for their open data sharing. So if you want to, you could launch the template that Arizona created and customize it for your own organization. These templates can really save on time. And many of these templates also integrate with ArcGIS solutions. So many of the solutions, like Citizen Problem Reporter, include ArcGIS Hub for engagement and collaboration. So now it's accessible here in the template gallery. Again, these are jumping off points to save on resources to allow you to quickly spin up initiatives and start collaborating. Lastly, there is more information on those templates. It's kind of like metadata for templates. You can see what's included in the template and what would be launched through the template activation. And there have been so many other updates to Hub as well. There's now out-of-the-box accordion features that you can use. This accordion feature is used a lot for frequently asked questions or even to showcase different applications. If you want to access this feature, go into the text card and choose the plus button. Every site has theme settings located on the editor's panel. But now you can access some of these settings when editing individual rows. Rather than navigating back to the theme settings, you can now select a theme color in the row settings that was predefined in the theme setting originally. We've been integrated with our survey builder, Survey 123, but now it's easier than ever to change the sharing settings of those surveys. Sharing controls of Survey 123 are now available in the side panel when editing a survey for easy access. These settings can configure close date, submission editing, multiple submissions, and even result privacy. And the last new feature is the people card. Add this new card into your page to highlight the stakeholders or collaborators making your initiative a success. Visitors can learn more about each of the members by clicking on their name and viewing their profiles. These are some of the tools that have been released, and you can learn more about what's new in the What's New Hub blog that's linked here at the bottom of the screen. I would now invite you to take our survey of this session. We'd really appreciate your feedback. You can use this QR code with your phone camera, or you can just type in the address, the yellow address that you see here into your browser. And we'd like to know if you'd be interested in leveraging ArcGIS Hub for your projects. Based on what you've seen today and the type of work that you're focused on most, do you see your organization using this? And the second question is whether you would like access to a 30-day evaluation. As you may be aware, evaluations are a little different from some of the free trials that you can find. An evaluation allows us to make sure that you have right access for ArcGIS Hub Premium in your organization and make sure that the duration is long enough for you. And finally, our last question is to let us know if you'd like to meet with us to discuss the work that you're doing. It would be great to discuss your work with ArcGIS Hub or discuss how your work could be supported by ArcGIS Hub. Whether it's emergency management, city planning, land records, whatever it is, I'd love to chat with you about it. So with that, I will now hand it over to Matt, who will do a demonstration of ArcGIS Hub and dive a little deeper into the technology. Over to you, Matt.
Thanks, Morgan. That was a really good presentation. I'm always interested in hearing about how other agencies are leveraging the Hub to support their workflows. So before I get started on my demonstration, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Matt Viverito. I'm a solution engineer for the state government team at Esri. And I get to work with a lot of state agencies across the Southeast region, helping them implement the Hub to support their own workflows. The workflow that I found interesting and that I wanted to do a presentation on, or a proof of concept, was the Connecticut Adopt a Park program. So I did some research in Connecticut. I'm actually from Connecticut. I grew up in a small town outside of Hartford where when I was a child, we would often hike the state forest in our town. And I noticed that they have, we would find litter out there. And when I did my research, I noticed that Connecticut had an Adopt a Park program, very similar to what you would find across DOTs where they have Adopt a Highway program. And so the reason I thought this would be a great Hub implementation is there's three key points that I think the Hub is very advantageous for to support this program. And the first one is it's a great tool to provide that collaboration. So Connecticut needed a landing page or a website that you could go to and find information about the program. But I also wanted to use the Hub to allow users to actually volunteer and sign up to become members through the Hub. The second aspect I thought the Hub would be great for to support this program was the ability to provide tools and resources, whether that be training videos, documentations, but more importantly, the Hub allows you to use the tools that Esri's platform allows you to access, such as Quick Capture or Survey 123. So being able to provide those tools to the volunteers because they have a named user account or an identity given to them, they can actually access information and resources that maybe the general public can't access. And finally, I wanted to be able to create a tool or a way for the Connecticut staff to monitor and manage the actual program. So as their volunteers are going out in the field and collecting data, I want to be able to take that data and put that into an information product where they can make better decisions. They can see the results, the actual results of what's being collected out in the field. And also a way for the Connecticut staff members to communicate easily via email to those volunteers. So as I stated before, Connecticut has an existing program. They actually do have a landing page already that explains a lot about their Adopt a Park program. And it's got a lot of great information on here. Why should you adopt? who can adopt, where can I adopt, and other ways that maybe you can, if you're not going to be able to adopt, you can support financially. They also broke out into 3 other little sections that link you out to new pages like the facts page, or they have a really nice volunteer spotlight page where they can show off and highlight what the volunteers are actually doing out in the field and give them credit for the hard work that they do. And then they have an events page where they provide information about upcoming events that they feel that these volunteers would probably be interested in. The next piece is really their process to adopt a park, and they do that through a Word document or a PDF. And this is just simply an application that you fill out. And let me go to that now. And you can see I can print this out and fill out all information. They collect your name, the group name that you want to be known as. If maybe it's I work for Esri, and the Esri group's going to go out and collect. We could do that as well. If you volunteered before, if yes, please fill out this information, when and where, and describe the tasks you performed. They have other sections with a little calendar in here to mark down the days that you're interested in visiting the parks. And then finally, at the bottom, they have a signature page. And this is for not only liability, but also to certify that everything that you're stating on this document is true. Okay, so this is the proof of concept or the hub site that I actually put together to support their program. And luckily, because Connecticut had an existing program, it was very easy for me to bring that information over. But what's nice about the hub is I can also bring over the themes or the branding, such as the logo, for example, very easily, or social media accounts. I can link these out. The branding, the color scheme, I can apply that to my hub site to match the government's requirements. But you'll notice on this page here, I have an overview of what the program's about, and then I have my Why Adopt section. And of course, I'm highlighting out. We want to keep our parks safe and clean. We want to build a closer, stronger community. And we want to, of course, help the environment. I did add some other capabilities that the hub has to offer. And this is a really simple embedded web map that I added in to it. So I could show what parks are available for adoptions and which ones have not been adopted yet. So yes means it's been adopted. The orange means it has not been adopted. So I'm interested in Glastonbury, and this is in central Connecticut. And I can select the park where I used to go hiking and fishing in, and I can find whether or not it's been adopted. In this case, it has not been adopted. So the next step for the volunteer would be able to apply. So if I'm a volunteer, I can go down here and I can actually apply. So that form I showed you before, that PDF form, is now been converted into Survey 123 form. And I'll show you some of the capabilities of Survey 123. I can auto-populate my name, my address, my phone number, and then I can go through and answer those questions, very similar to the same questions that were on that application. I have those yes/no questions as well. So if I hit yes, it actually expands, and now I can fill out the additional information that's needed to move forward. I also can pre-populate my field, so I don't want everybody to just type in the name of their park. I have a really specific naming convention that I want them to use. So I can have this in a pick list, and I could go ahead and, in this example, pick Bolton Notch State Park, Bolton, Connecticut, and that's the park that I'm going to adopt. You can see I can add in dates and times when I'm interested in, and I could do multiple dates and times if desired. I could have this question repeat itself. And then at the very bottom, I have that signature page available. So I can sign this right on the screen here, and I'm done, and I'm ready to submit. What's interesting here with this technology using Survey 123 is that I have included webhooks. And what webhooks allow you to do is to provide some sort of notification to not only the volunteer themselves, but also I have a notification via email going to the Connecticut staff telling the staff member that Matt Viverito has actually applied for a volunteer position. Will you please review? So if I hit submit, an email will be sent to not only the volunteer himself with the next steps, but also the Connecticut staff member. And I'll show you what that looks like here. Okay, so here's a screenshot of the email that was sent after I submitted that survey. And this email will go to the volunteer. And you can see it says, thank you for submitting your application. The next step is to create a volunteer adopt a park account here. The second sentence says, once approved, an email will be sent from Connecticut Deep staff member providing you information on how to enter the volunteer program portal. The volunteer program portal is a hub page that requires an account. So the first thing I'm going to have to do is actually create this account here. So if I select this link here, it will open up the Adopt a Park account sign-in page. Okay, so I selected that link, and now I'm at the Adopt a Park sign-in page, the volunteer account sign-in page. And it only does really one thing. It allows me to sign up and create an account. I do want to point out that on the top right-hand corner, I am not signed in, so I do not have an account right now. So technically, this is exposed to the public, but at the same time, it's the only way you can really get to this is through that email. So you'd have to know this URL. But what this allows me to do is create a volunteer account. So I can go ahead and sign up. And once I sign up, I can either use an existing email and put my information in, or I can use Facebook or Google. And I'm going to use Google to attach my Gmail account. Once I create that account, I have a username now in the right-hand corner here. And you can see it's called Matt Viverito 8. And now the Connecticut staff are aware that Matt Viverito 8 has applied. And his next step is going to be to go to the volunteer program portal. Now, the only way I can get into this program portal is if I have a named user account and if the Connecticut State team has allowed me access to this account. So the next thing, what would happen is after the account has been reviewed, an email will be sent to Matt Viverito 8 from the Connecticut staff, providing them with that link to this volunteer program portal and access to that portal as well. So here's what that email would look like from the Connecticut staff. And one thing I want to highlight here is that the notifications at Esri.com, this is coming from the hub now. So the staff in Connecticut actually communicated through the hub itself. They were able to find Matt Viverito 8 in there as part of a community member, and I could now communicate with Matt Viverito 8. And you can see, so thank you for becoming a volunteer. To view all the resources and tools, you'll need to go to the volunteer program portal here, and this will link out to that page directly. So here's the volunteer program portal page. And again, I can only get to this if I'm approved and have a named user account. And I've provided some additional information, their fact sections. So this is going to help them, the volunteers, prepare before they go out into the field. So what can they do? How long do they have to commit for? How often do they actually need to visit the park? They typically like 2 times a month. The type of items that you need to bring. And how do you report? Who's going to be your point of contact, for example? This next section is really what I think sets the hub apart from other just a common website, because this allows you to provide those tools that the Esri platform has made available through your named user account. And one of those tools is the quick capture. So I'm going to use quick capture projects to go out in the field and collect the litter. And before you do that, though, I'm going to give them some training information so they can link out to an actual training video here. And then after they're familiar with how to use the tool, they need to download it. So if I select this download link here, this will take me to the quick capture resource page and also take me to the setting up section where I can download the app to my proper device. Okay, so the next part is let's get the quick capture project loaded onto my mobile device. So I can use my mobile device, and I'll open that up now. And I can scan this QR code. And this QR code is going to automatically load the project to my quick capture application. So you can see I'm loading my application. I scanned it. And now I have this Connecticut Deep Litter Reporter application available to me. And if I open up this application, I'm ready to go out into the field and start collecting information. So if I see any bottles that need to be picked up, I can select that bottle. I could actually add a photo through my camera if I wanted to. It's taking the exact location of where you're capturing this information. It's also, because I'm using the named account, it knows that it's Matt Viverito that's capturing this and what time I'm capturing this information at. I've also included a link at the bottom here where you can jump right back to the portal so you can get some more resources. So if I wanted to post another document that they might need or some other information, they can quickly go back to that website. Additionally, quick captures can work both in a disconnected and connected environment. So you could select an attribute here that you're collecting and then submit it once you get into a wired area or an internet connected area. And then finally, I added some tips and tricks. How can I best serve my duties? You can see, work in fair weather conditions during park hours. Always provide adult supervision, especially if you have young kids going with you. and so forth. The last piece here is the area where the program, they want to be able to provide a list of events or highlight some events that might be coming up that, because these people that are volunteering, they might be interested in other types of cleanups across the state. And you can see that I'm actually attending already. I just selected this button here. It says, do I want to attend? If I hit attend, it knows that Matt Viverito 8, because I'm signed in, is attending this event. But what is this event? If I select the card itself, it opens up a more detailed page about the event. And I can see that Matt Viverito is attending, who's organizing it. If I want to share this, maybe either through an email or social media, I can do that. I can add it to my calendar so I don't forget. I can get information about, detailed information about the event. And then, of course, a map with directions. Okay, so that was the experience of the volunteer. Now I want to show you how the staff will interact and actually collaborate with those volunteers. I'm back at the landing page. This is the public-facing landing page. If I sign in with my staff account, so this is my official Connecticut Deep Staff account ID, I'm at the same page, but there's a difference here. So I've allowed more information to be exposed to the Connecticut staff from the same URL. And you'll notice what I've included is a dashboard. So this dashboard is showing you all of the parks that either have been adopted, which parks are available, so I can zoom in, zoom out really quick to the parks, and then also what's been collected out in the field. So I can see as people are going out there in quick capture, I can bring that data into a dashboard and really help manage and monitor my program. I've also provided an area for the staff to look at the raw data, and this is through my content library. If I go ahead and hit search, you can see I can find all different types of program information, whether that be a document that I want my staff to read, and maybe I only want my staff to have access to this and I don't want the public to. Okay, so let's go back to the landing page, and I'm going to show you the back end. You see this little pencil here? Because I am part of the Connecticut staff that can actually edit this hub page, I can select this pencil and edit it. And again, this is really a very valuable tool to update your website, and it's so easy. I'm not a developer, so this is low code, no code capabilities. If I wanted to add text to my website, I could just drag and drop this in here and add additional text. I could go back to my text and edit it, but you can see on the left-hand side, I got different types of information or cards that I can drag and drop and add to my website really quickly. Like if I wanted to create a survey, I could just drag and drop this over. Or maybe I wanted to embed that map. I can drag and drop this over, and now I can search my hub site or my ArcGIS Online site, my account. Maybe I found a map that FEMA's sharing. I could search for that FEMA map and add this really easy, embed it into here. So you have a lot of options on different items that you can add to support the look and feel of your hub site. Additionally, I have a dashboard. So again, I can monitor who has visited, how many people have visited, how often they're visiting, and how often that they're staying on the site for. So I'm getting an average of about 11.5 minutes in the last 30 days. I can also communicate with my volunteers. And the way I do that is through my teams. So when a volunteer signs up, I want to provide them access to that page that the public can't have. But how do I do that? Well, once they sign up, I'm going to see that they're available in my community. And I created a new team here called the Forest Litter Reporters. These are my volunteers. And now I can search my community and I can add those members to this community, or to this group, sorry. Once they're added to this group, now I can share items through the hub specifically to this group, whether that be a section of the actual hub site, or maybe it's an application like the quick capture application. I can share it with only members of this team here. I can also communicate with my members. So let's say a volunteer has signed up, I've approved them, I've put them into this team. Now I want to let them know that they've been approved. I can create that message saying, okay, here's your next steps. You need to go to the portal here. I could also say, oh, we've created a new tool that might help you out in the field, this maps or Trails and Parks map. This is how you get to it, and this is a new update. I can send that out to my volunteers. So it's really an easy way to manage your members, provide them different levels of access, and be able to communicate with them very quickly and easily. Okay, so let's say I received that email. There's a Parks and Trails map available. I'm signed in as Matt Viverito 8. Now I have access to this link here. If it was the general public, I might not be able to see this map, but it's up to you on how you want to expose your apps and maps. And this is a real simple map, but I think a very valuable map that would be useful for them when they're out in the field. And essentially what I'm using is the instant apps that Esri provides out of the box that I published. A very simple viewer, but I can zoom in, zoom out. I can see the trails. I can get information about the trails. I can even do screenshots. So if I wanted to say, let's screenshot this part of the map, and I want to let the staff know I made it through half this park here. Tomorrow I'm going to do the rest of the park here. I can do that and do a screenshot, for example, and send that on. But a really simple tool that you can quickly deploy. I can provide a notification to the volunteers and then provide that access to the volunteers to start using the application. So to summarize, I think the hub was advantageous in this instance to support the Connecticut Adoptive Park program. You can see that I have the capability to not only provide just a landing page and information to my volunteers, but I can also allow them to create an account where they can have access to other items, such as Quick Capture or Survey 123. And then finally, the hub allows me to monitor and manage the program, whether I'm providing information to the volunteers through an email, or I am viewing the results as they're collecting the information out in the field. But before I let you go, I wanted to leave you with this slide here. And we'll have this available for you to access, but we have a lot of great resources to support you when building out the hub. We have our product page, of course, the GeoNet community. This is a great place to share ideas, to ask questions. We have some lesson learned, some learning plans to really get you started on building out these hub sites. We also have a lot of demos, and you can watch some videos of these demos and an example gallery. And then, of course, if you look, you can find our blog with hub information, and also follow social media accounts where we provide a lot of examples of what other agencies are doing with the hub and some new things that are coming with the hub. So that's going to wrap it up. Like I said before, we're going to be available for Q&A at the end of this, and please fill out the survey. We'd love to hear some feedback about our presentation. And thanks for the time.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We have Matt and Morgan here available for your questions. I see we have some good questions in the chat, but if for any reason we don't get to them right now, you can be sure to follow up with us after this presentation by clicking our names in the session and either booking some time or communicating with us. So we'd appreciate that. All right, let's get started. We have a question here from BT that says, we often work with sensitive data not meant for the public. Can a hub be password protected? Morgan, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So very similarly to ArcGIS Online and how ArcGIS Online handles privacy or access, that's also how ArcGIS Hub does as well. So yep, if you want, you can make a hub site completely private, and you need to have a login to be able to access it. What's really great about that is that you can share it to your organization. You could share it to individual teams or groups as well. So you saw a lot about community identities today as well. And so you can have hub initiatives or sites that are shared only to individuals with very specific usernames. So hope that answers your question.
Great, thanks, Morgan. We have another one from an anonymous viewer that asks, what is the difference between ArcGIS Hub and ArcGIS Enterprise sites? Matt, do you think you could answer that one?
Sure. Yeah, ArcGIS Hub is on, ArcGIS Hub basically is on ArcGIS Online and also enterprise sites. The functionality is the same. ArcGIS Premium, some of the stuff that I showed you in my demo, that is only on ArcGIS Online, like the named users and the events. So some of that other functionality. And I know, Brenda, isn't there some future plans for enterprise as well?
Yeah, I will talk about that just for a second. We are considering moving the ArcGIS Hub premium capabilities to enterprise as well. That's a nascent idea, an early idea. And we would be targeting enterprise on Kubernetes for that work and possibly eyeing something in spring of 2022. So if you are interested in Hub on Enterprise, I encourage you to click my name and follow up with me directly, because I'd like to hear more about your use case and how you'd like to use it. So thanks, Matt, for answering that. A question about, can an organization have multiple hubs? I'm sure Matt or Morgan, which one of you would like to jump in on that one?
I can jump in. Yeah, so it kind of depends, right? Hub, so if you have ArcGIS Online, you have access to ArcGIS Hub. And so it is a one-to-one relationship. So if you have one ArcGIS Online, you have one ArcGIS Hub instance. And that also goes with ArcGIS Hub Premium as well. However, if you have multiple ArcGIS Online instances, you can have multiple Hub instances as well. Now, if you're talking specifically about Hub sites or Hub initiatives, all of those individual kind of projects that you are seeing, you can have, I don't want to say as many as you want. I think our limit is what, 400, 500 Hub sites. So you can have as many Hub sites as you want, if that's what your question was. So thanks, Brenda.
Yeah, thanks, Morgan. We have a question here about, can you track activity to the site or site activity? And so Matt, I'm going to hand that one to you if you want to take that one.
Yeah, so the Hub comes with the capability to enable tracking. So it has a dashboard built into it, and under your settings in your Hub, you can turn that on. But you can also include Google Analytics. And then if you want to add a consent notice, for example, to inform the visitors that they're actually being tracked, you can add that to the Hub. So we added that recently, and that's all done through the settings tab when you're editing a Hub site. Yeah.
And just to follow on, visitors to the site can accept or reject tracking. So it's compliant with GDPR, if people were curious. Another question here, are there settings to make Hub mobile friendly? Morgan, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, great question. So Hub is responsive. So that means that it is mobile friendly. It will respond to whatever screen you are on, if you're on a tablet, desktop, or a cell phone. So it will kind of conform to whatever tool you're using. But with that being said, also within Hub itself, the different cards that you can add in, what you can do is actually hide some of them on mobile. So if you don't want people to have to thumb through a lot of extra white space, but you still want it on there for the desktop users, you can actually hide that on the mobile version. So we do have some settings that you can turn on and off to also make a more mobile responsive friendly experience.
I'll just add to that too, on the iframe card, you can have a URL for a mobile version of what you iframed in. So, yep. Thanks, Morgan. The other one is from Emily. Our organization has lots of data on ArcGIS Online accounts, but we only want a subset of it to show up when searched on the Hub site. Is this possible?
Yeah, I can answer that. So you can set up the Hub to point to your data through groups, for example. So if I have a group of all my open data, I can say, okay, when we search the Hub, we want to search only that open data group. But I also have some other capabilities. I could search by individual categories or even tags. So I can say only search the data that's tagged with floodplain information. So you have a variety of ways to provide those different types of searching that your end users can access through the Hub site.
Thanks, Matt. And then I think this other one is for you too, because it says directly to you, Matt. Oh. Are all of the tools / items shown in your demo available with Hub Standard, or do some require premium?
Yeah, so good question. When you saw the named user piece where a volunteer would sign up for the program, that's a Hub Premium capability, and also the event section that I included. So that named user, that collaboration between the Connecticut staff with the users that sign up, that's where you're going to see the Hub Premium capabilities and the accessibility to those functions.
Great, thanks, Matt. And now one or both of you might want to jump in on this one. It says, how do you market a Hub application so people understand what it is capable of and obtain community engagement / collaboration? So how do you get, I guess, awareness out there? And maybe Morgan, did you want to take a stab at that?
Yeah, definitely. So what we see really, what we see a lot of organizations do who have, these similar concerns, a lot of times when they work with their communications department or the marketing department, or just, whoever is kind of in charge of that, we see that when they collaborate with those types of groups, hub sites are more heavily trafficked, right? So they can post about them on social media. Maybe if I know during COVID-19, a lot of people used hub sites to give out that information and everything. And maybe during news articles or, sessions or whatever, you can call out the URL to your hub site, right? What's really great about Hub, that's different to some other applications within the Esri suite, is that you can have a custom URL. A custom domain. And that's also a difference between ArcGIS Hub and ArcGIS Enterprise sites. So you can have this custom URL. You can make it really quick and really snappy to say. Some of these kind of ideas, I think, can help market and make your hub site really successful.
Oh, and I just remembered something too, is like there's an ability to turn on social sharing on hub sites too. A new feature that if you go into your site settings, and it'll make a little widget that allows anybody viewing the site to quickly share it to LinkedIn or Facebook or any social media. So go into your settings and turn on the social sharing that might help as well.
And another thing that I see a lot is when someone builds out a hub site, they'll often invite their communication department team in as part of the core team of the hub site. So they give them access to it and capabilities to change the marketing and the theme and allow them to have a active role in designing and exposing the hub site.
Yeah. And one of the tips I know we got from our customers, Matt, that you've worked with is one tip they gave is the GIS manager will go talk to the communications department and say, how can I help you tell your story? And right. Communications department may not be used to that, but if you say, how can I help you tell your story? Then that kind of lights up some ideas, a good working relationship. So lots of good tips there. Let's see, one more, Morgan, is it possible for an ArcGIS Hub to house something like a Tableau dashboard?
Yep, it is. So you can use the iframe card within Hub, and you can embed Tableau dashboards. So we do play nicely with others. And that goes with all of any applications within Esri as well. Experience Builder, surveys, everything.
Another one, anonymous, what widget or application do you use to collect citizen feedback? Is it like, for example, survey 123 ? So
yeah, I mean, typically I like to use survey 123. I think that's a great tool to quickly embed. We actually in the hub have a card that you can drag and drop and create these surveys directly into it. So again, if you have someone on your core team like the communications department, they don't really know much about ArcGIS Online and creating surveys, but with the card, it walks them right through it. So they can do it really easily without really having that knowledge of the ArcGIS Online system. Yeah, that's one way we do it. And again, you could use other tools like, Quick Capture is another way, or we track citizen feedback by participation in events, for example, and if they sign up and And then the final capability that I like to use, and I showed in my demo, was those webhooks, or being able to not just the webhooks, but being able to use the hub to send out emails and communication that way to get public feedback directly from your users.
That's great. Not just because I know later this summer, we hope to release some map-based feedback tools where it's more map-centric. So keep an eye out for that later this summer. And I know we're getting close to time. If we didn't answer your question, please be sure to follow up with us by clicking our names and scheduling some time, or just reaching out more generally, and we'd be happy to do that. So I think we're at time, but I don't know if there's anything we could answer quickly.
One thing I do want to quickly mention is that tomorrow at 12:30 Pacific, we have another session about managing and collaborating your community. So make sure you check that out tomorrow at 12:30 Pacific. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.